start in Kievan Rus. Yeah, Rus, not Russia. With the rise of Christianity in 988, the Orthodox Church became a heavy influence in the Rus culture. Because of this, most of the music at the time was sacred music or religious music. They sang and played instruments like the gusli, and they sang and played other instruments like the gudok and the sviril, and they sang. Of course, there was folk music, but because the church felt that it promoted paganism, it was shunned by the church. Secular music was totally banned from the 14th to the 17th century, though we know that since the 12th century it was informally kept and enjoyed in courts by secular authorities. The church continued to wage war against secular and folk music, till Peter the Great broke the church's dominance. But even then, secular music was regarded as influence from the Western devils, thanks to the church, and therefore Russia was a slow starter in the era of classical music. Of course, this view eroded over time, and thanks to Peter's niece, who invited an Italian troupe to perform at the court, Western operas, especially Italian operas, became especially popular in Russia. In fact, Italian opera became so popular that Russian composers couldn't get their work performed. Well, technically they could, but it meant that they had to write in a Western style, which they couldn't unless they traveled abroad for training. The first composer who successfully used Russian traditional music in composing classical music was Mikhail Glinka. He was successful because his music was distinctively Russian. Music thereon was led by two groups, those who were inspired by Russian folk music, like the Mighty Five, and a more conservative group, like the members of the Russian Music Society or the more well-known Tchaikovsky. And then came the Russian Revolution. Under the great leader Joseph Stalin, experimentation with music was discouraged, and music was made to be very patriotic. Of course, over time, things changed. In the 1920s, Soviet jazz became popular through the movies, and in the 1960s, pop and rock music rose. Which leads us to the Russian music of today.